Hello, everyone. We are like almost 20 minutes late, so we're doing as good as usual, honestly. Which is fine. We got distracted by a discussion. Um, yeah. Side note, kind of related, but does not need the context of the discussion itself. One day, I took a walk over to the local train station in the way that I normally do because I like trains. That's all the context you need to know there. Uh, Anyways, I walked on over and I accidentally interrupted some teenagers that were filming a TikTok dance. And they all left feeling very awkward. It was like unintentional. I just kind of like walked around the building and then they were like, "Oh shit," and then they all like left. I'm like, "Sorry, I."
It would be funny if you suddenly joined in on him in the background.
I do
Oh,
not
then
have
they'd
that
call it
kind of
cringe.
sauce. I am very yeah. Also, if I were to, then I'd probably end up on TikTok, and I don't want that.
No, that's a fair and valid point.
One time I was walking through town, and I was on my way to the bank, and as I was walking to the bank, like there was this car in traffic that was just beeping like weirdly, and I like stopped and I stared, and then the kid like in the passenger seat opened the window and was like, "What's wrong, dude?" And then and then I saw him holding up a phone, and then I just turned and I walked away because I did not want to give them anything to play with. And it worked out, I think. So remember, kids, if some teenagers pull a phone on you to be like, "Hey, you're going to be the next big reaction thing on my TikTok," just walk away. That's my advice. Probably not the best advice, but like, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, because I am a dancer myself, I would jump in the line and rock my body in time.
I.
Kill me now.
Anyways, hello everyone and welcome to the pre-show. I'm your host, Dust Me Dust. You should not take my advice probably, but I'm existing. In the call dust is also some people, including but not limited to Toa,
I'm doing chores. Whee!
Crazy Matt Captain,
Why would I choose to exist? Ow. Come on. There it goes.
DM21. I actually didn't check to see if he was in the call. I was just listing off names by memory. He might not be here. Oh yeah, he's not here. Sorry, I lied. It would help if I actually looked at the people who are in call right now. We've got Circuit.
I'm drenched in sweat.
Hot. Crazy Matt Captain.
You've already called that name.
Tech Stallion, who is mute. And Suki.
Yay.
Anyways, we're going to do something I actually don't know what. Please bear with me. I am getting off of a cold. I think I'm getting better, I hope, this time for realsies, because I thought I was feeling better yesterday, and then it just kind of came back full force, and then I wasn't feeling good, and I took a lot of sleep, and then I woke up, and I'm feeling okay for now.
Probably the relapse. If you got a relapse like that, it means you're out. You're good. You're gonna be good now.
I hope.
Sometimes a cold comes back with a vengeance just before death, and if you're feeling good now,
I could really go for, like, having a cold without 2 health bars.
yeah. No, it's not fun when the cold suddenly regains half their health and they metamorphosize into Cold X.
Yes, exactly.
No, you know my true form. No, you are not the JRPG of his sickness. What are you doing?
So, hey y'all, stay healthy out there. Wash your hands. Don't eat stuff off the sidewalk unless you know that sidewalk has been sanitized.
Boil your underwear.
Yes.
Sanitize your cat.
Microwave your microwavables.
I have concerns.
Uh wash your chicken in soap. Actually, don't do that. But there are people who do that. I don't. It's not necessary.
I don't. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
You're going to do it. You're going to wash your chicken in soap.
Well, I'm not gonna do it unless I'm in private,
Okay.
and also phrasing.
Oh right.
Yes, be sure to wash your chicken in soap, everybody. Be very thorough.
In that case, please do. Please do.
Actually, yeah, really, honestly, too.
Shower regularly.
Yeah, just in general, showering is good.
I know all of you do. I know you do. And I'm so thankful that you do. But, I'm just saying to be cautious, but I know you do. I know you do, because I love you, deep down. Actually, I don't know you that well, but I like to have faith.
I'd like to believe you do.
Yeah.
Believe in the me that believes in you and and showering.
Yes. A nice hot one.
Praising.
I mean.
Also, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, is that today?
Yes.
Damn. Also, May the 5th be with you, as they say in Star
No,
Wars
it's
land.
Revenge of the 5th.
It was May the 4th be with you.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
And then got Revenge of the 5th for some weird reason, because I guess they didn't want it to just be one day. For some reason.
I can't believe they're muscling on Cinco de Mayo.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, both are technically just made up days, made up holidays.
Well, I don't know. Cinco de Mayo does have some. Or you're talking about May the 4th.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: Cinco de Mayo, is basically is literally one town with a victory in Mexico. The Mexicans don't give a shit about Cinco de Mayo.
Really?
Really?
Yep. As far as I'm aware, yeah. Far as I remember, Mexico doesn't actually really do much for Cinco de Mayo. That became a very Americanized thing to basically sell liquor.
So basically, it became like the St. Patrick's Day for Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, that shouldn't surprise me. That shouldn't surprise me as much as it does. It really shouldn't. The worst part is it did work. I bought liquor. I have sparkling mimosas in the fridge, and I have some Modelo right here.
If you have a national holiday, bring it to America. We'll drinkify it.
You know what? I'll drink to that. God.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. More popular in the United States than in Mexico, Cinco de Mayo has become associated with the celebration of Mexican American culture. Celebrations began in Colombia, California, where they have been observed annually since 1862. Huh. So yeah, again, it was basically the U.S. The day gained nationwide popularity beyond those of Mexican American heritage in the 1980s due to advertising campaigns by beer, wine, and tequila companies. Today, Cinco de Mayo generates beer sales on par with the Super Bowl.
Oh.
In Mexico, the commemoration of the battle continues to be mostly ceremonial, such as through military parades or battle reenactments.
Ah, okay.
The city of Puebla marks the event with various festivals and reenactments of the battle. But
that's hilarious and terrible, all in the same measure.
So yeah, basically in Mexico, it's basically like a reenactment sort of day, just like one of those things. And then in America, we just decided to give it an excuse to drink.
Like we need an excuse to drink anymore in America.
Fair.
Depression.
Oh, did I miss something? I've been having to deal with the handyman fixing my home.
That explains some noises.
Ah, okay. I will say, random, unrelated, but I feel completely justified in saying, fuck Google AI. Why this time specifically? Because I had a memory as I was, deliriously making soup today. I was just I remembered how about a year ago, I was having a conversation with some people at work, and one of them insisted that the very first Mickey Mouse cartoon to feature Mickey the Mouse was Steamboat Willie, which it is in fact not true. That was one of the first ones to gain major popularity, as it was one of the first films to
I think it was one of the first
have synchronized sound. Yes.
Yeah.
However, because of Google AI, when my dumbass coworker checked on his phone to verify his answer was correct, he went with the Google AI answer, which said that he was correct. So, from the bottom of my heart, fuck you, Google AI. I hope you die in a well.
So where was his first appearance? Because the Disney Wiki is saying that as well.
It was plain crazy. Yeah.
No. There was had a couple of other appearances on something that was. It was kind of interesting because it was like I've seen it. I've actually seen it. It's I don't know how you describe
referring
it.
to the Alice comedies? No, that wasn't Mickey.
No. I can't remember what exactly it was called. In fact, the reason I found out about it was because of Peg Leg Pete. Finding out about Pete and his origins, which was a whole nother kettle.
Peg Leg Pete was in the Alice comedies. Mickey Mouse was not there. A character similar to Mickey was, though.
Yeah.
Oh, if I'm correct about this, the first Mickey Mouse cartoon was plain crazy.
Yes, that's what Toa said, and I'm pretty sure that is correct. I'm pretty sure. Not 100%.
Although a silent.
Yes. It was a silent film.
Yep. But yeah, Disney likes to tout up Steamboat Willie, which is more hilarious that it's now technically in the public domain.
Yes. Yes, it is. By the way, shouts out to the Internet Archive. Because they have a bunch of cool things, like old catalogs. They show you, like, old kitchen stuff that used to exist in kitchens, like ice boxes. Shouts out to ice boxes for once existing, and also being referred to as refrigerators, because there was no mechanical refrigeration at the time, so you didn't really need a distinction there. It was the thing that kept cold. The cold closet. Yes.
I love whenever we just go on our tangents, because at times we enjoy JackBox, but also this is our hangout time.
Well, I'm also not going to lie. I'm trying really, really hard to finish color keying this image so I can just slather on colors and get this done.
I feel that. I
Hell
have
yeah.
a
I have no idea.
Slather on those colors. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't produced anything this week. I've done like almost nothing this weekend because I've been sick.
Well, I mean, more of an alpha lock and using a non-transparent pixel coloring. I'm learning.
Funny man say funny words.
Oh, by the way, happy a couple days after Green Up Day. I don't know if any other states do Green Up Day at this time.
What is Green Up Day, Cole?
What?
Green Up Day is a thing in Vermont where people get together around the community to pick up litter.
Oh,
awesome. I actually like that. No, the closest thing we have in Utah is Happy set on fire and hope it doesn't catch your house day.
Oh, the 4th of July.
Pretty much, yeah. The day out. Well, 3 days before and 3 days after, when everybody's lighting up fireworks, and we are dry as hell. So yeah.
I live in Georgia. Be glad we even care about Earth Day.
Yeah, that's fair.
Got it. Okay.
And you know Oklahoma does not.
Moving to Georgia, gonna eat a lot of peaches.
So one thing I will say, this Green Up Day, something unusual. So somebody found a big metal thing as they were cleaning up down around the tracks, which, by the way, maybe don't do that. Stay off tracks. It's trespassing, and you could be killed. Not by, like, somebody who's after you for trespassing, because, trains are big and heavy. Be safe, y'all.
And even though they're noisy, they can sneak up on you.
It's true, especially if they're going fast. Anyways, yeah, somebody found a big metal thing, and I've been trying to figure out what it is, because it was left on the platform, and yeah, it is the running theories that me and a bunch of people have come up with are A, in most unlikely, a jack housing, B, and this is a theory from a guy that I know who works with steam engines. He thinks that it's a piece of a device to center the trailing truck on a steam locomotive. That's, if you look at a steam engine, and it's got like the little wheels in front, the big wheels in the middle, and then a couple little wheels in the back, just like not including the tender, just on the locomotive itself. Yeah, those last tiny little wheels, those would be the trailing truck. Anyways, that's his theory, and just about everyone else who I've like shown the thing, thinks that it is an old switch stand, or at least a piece of one.
Sounds like a pretty big hunk of metal either way.
It's pretty big. I mean, like, I can lift it, so it's not like huge, but like, you know, it's like, it's about knee height. It's a big metal thing. It's old as hell. If it is a switch stand, it's a very old and obscure patent, which is possible because railroads in this town have existed since 1849. The area that was found, there have been railroads there since the early 1850s. So that gives a good, like, you know, 100-something years. Like, and railroad equipment wasn't necessarily standardized, and it still isn't really quite standardized. Like, it's standardized to a degree, right? But, like, throughout the entirety of the 1800s, there's plenty of time for people to come up with patents that were weird and may have been used for, like, a few different railroads for a very short time, and then they went for something a little bit better. So, possible.
About the stories, it's telling me quite a lot of things. I mean, the green update is pretty awesome altogether. I think that's really
Green update is wonderful. I think more states should do it. I'm honestly surprised more states don't, because it is a thing across the entire state of Vermont. So I don't know if New Hampshire does it, but Vermont does.
And the fact that you are theorizing about a big piece of metal, and your a lot of your theories, guesses, work, and things like that are from really old and ancient locomotive aspects.
Well,
it makes me well, at least a lot of it. It kind of gives me the indication that you don't clean the same areas every green update. You apparently pick different locations.
Oh no,
that probably haven't been cleaned up to do the cleanups.
Oh no, that's the weird thing is they've cleaned up this area every single year. Like,
okay, so my impression was wrong.
I don't know how they found this. It must have been somewhere deep in the weeds, and they were like really looking this time. But like normally that doesn't happen. Normally they just pick up a bunch of garbage, and
which probably also explains why everybody is so curious about it. Because how do you miss this for so long? I guess.
Well,
I have to wonder.
A running theory I have right now is that it was buried for a long time because coal wasn't rusty at all, or was it rather fine aside from patches of rust?
Oh no!
There's no way it's not rusty.
It's covered in rust, but it's not rusty apart.
Yeah, the way they're talking about it, there's no way it wasn't covered in rust.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, after that long between times, it should have like been rusted, not to heck and back. But you know what I'm getting at there.
Yes, I can actually pull it up. Let me see.
Ooh, do show.
I just need to go into.
Okay, Coldust. I just have to ask, just because I'm sure you would want to be asked. Do you want me to let this train keep going, or do you want me to interrupt and interject the fact that you got about 24 minutes left in your pre-show?
I'm just gonna let this keep going because I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't really know what game we would play. Oh, that's right. There wasn't just one piece of metal. There was two, but one of them is just a tie spacer or rail clip.
That's why I asked. Go ahead and keep going.
Okay. Copy image. Or actually... open link. There we go. Now I can pull this down here, and I can show it in this screen. There it is.
By the way, you're not showing it on... Never mind.
So, I will say this photo doesn't really do it justice. It is about knee height. And the main thing that like makes you question whether or not it would be a switch stand is it doesn't have any of the any parts of the casting that would allow it to be affixed to the track. Because normally with these sort of things, if it is a switch stand, it would have, as part of the casting, holes for you to just like spike it down. This does not have that. But that said, like I said, when it comes to something this old, if it is a piece of a switch stand, it could be that this is just a part of it, and there was more to the assembly that is just not featured here. But honestly, I don't know.
There's definitely more. How that top end is, it looks like something with the same shape would land on it, and then you'd put like bolts down either side with nuts to secure it in place so it stays on there.
You see, that is possible. The reason why so many people are thinking that's a switch stand is because like it's about the right height, and these two notches in the side for old school switch stands. Now, not every design. There were many different designs. I cannot stress this enough.
I found a scale version of what switch stand
could
you can
something
use.
that it has poles there that mechanically turn it.
No.
So let me jack.
To describe what it does. Basically, this would just be like a part of a base of the stand, and there'd be a pole in the middle, usually with like a little sign on top, a target to like indicate which direction it's facing, and you would have a lever that you'd pull up on, and that lever would normally sit in either these spots, and you would lift the lever, turn the whole central rod, and then pop the lever back down in the other notch.
Cole, I think I found the model that is similar to this. I linked it both in the side chat and DM'd it to you. It's a scale model, but...
Let me have a look. Where the frick is Discord? There it is. Sort of.
Well, you know, better example than just the metal itself.
Okay.
Because...
sort of. Kind of, yeah. Honestly, it looks...
sort of see the top of it there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have that bottom bell shape there.
And very clearly, this is meant to be done at the bottom for the design, but from what Cole is showing, it is meant to be a lever up, lever down.
Kind of. Oh, so I will say there are some flaws to this theory. One is the fact that it doesn't have anything to fix it down, which that could be a separate part. We don't know. The other thing is, like, I did see a theory from one person who works with Steam Engines who thinks that it's a device to center that truck, like I mentioned before. And he's going to send me a picture of it tomorrow of the ones that he's talking about to do a comparison. So it might be that, for all we know. But there isn't really much of an identifier on it. There's a number, but it's not enough to like correlate to anything. And I've looked at several pictures of switch stands. I've not found any that match this to a T. But also I showed it to a conductor, and he said, yeah, that's definitely a switch stand. I showed it to one of the station caretakers, and he said, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a switch stand. I showed it to my dad. He said, yeah, I think that's part of a switch stand. And I personally think it's part of a switch stand, but not enough conclusive evidence. So, but yeah, it's a fun little mystery that we're kind of working on, searching on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is one of those things that I think the only way this could have been done like that is if it was somehow thrown off the side of the rail, because Paul, they haven't redone that railway in your town in how many years?
Well, actually, so here's the thing. There hasn't been a siding down that direction in, like, probably about, like, somewhere between 10 to 20 years. Because I do believe that I've lived in this town when there was a siding there at one point, but it was removed in a long while ago. And so there could have been a switch down there, but down that direction there were like 3 switches that existed. And depending on how far down they found it, which I have no idea because it's just turned up. Depending on how far down, it could be like one of the older ones, because there used to be one for an industry that I will not describe because it will dox me.
Fair.
That's pretty bad.
It's a local thing, so so I don't want to describe too much in depth on a live stream. But when we're not on air, I'll go into it more. But yeah, no, it's like it was an industry that used to exist a long time ago. It's like older than the town's name. And they did have an industrial switch to that area. So it could be from like way back when there, but also there just used to be a lot of tracks that would go into the station. So, and it could have just been that at some point when they were like redoing all the switches because they found there's just a better design switch, they could have just taken this out, thrown it to the side, and for it to be discovered like all these years later. And honestly, I don't really know for sure. And like, it doesn't seem like it was face down in the mud or anything, which is the most curious bit. Because, like, normally you would think there would be, and there would be very blatant evidence of it. So, I don't really know where they found this. And it leaves a lot of curiosity.
The best I could say was it might have been buried under something for a good while. Well, hence why it's not rusted through. But if you say it's only been like 10 or so years, it could just be how good the metal was.
If it's something like how Toa sent, it could be that it fell over and both it and its base were covered in dirt, and this one just surfaced when the group went and walked down that way.
Maybe.
So it may be something of walk out there with a metal detector, you'll find its base.
It certainly is one of those things. I feel like, particularly before they did all the construction in town, because they did do a lot of construction in town fairly recently, where they dug up a lot of areas that used to have tracks to like do a bit of a revitalization project. I feel like if you went through any of that area with a metal detector, you would find so much crap, because I cannot express enough. There have been railroads in this town for longer than the town has had a name, for longer than this has been established as a like, before it was established as a village, like, there have been railroads here. Like, the town was literally built around the railroad, which is saying something for Vermont. So, it's just kind of like one of those things. Let me see if I can find an example of what one of these looked like that's similar enough so you can kind of see the mechanism. Well, that's like almost similar enough. Sure, I'll go with that.
Out of curiosity, do you think it might have actually belonged to a train that managed to teleport its way through time and it just got catapulted during the time stream? Is there colored smoke on it? Do you see a hoverboard from Mattel?
I do not.
Sorry, it was just...
No, I knew what you were doing, that's why I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Well, this is an example, not really the perfect example, but...
Sorry, Circuit, it was from Hasbro.
Yeah.
Oh, no!
Unfortunately, the time shifted.
Oh, no, they're gonna send the Time Pinkertons after us now.
So not exactly...
Okay, yeah, I can totally see that.
So not really a perfect example, because, like, you can see this has got 2 notches, but they're, like, pretty close together. They're not like on opposite ends from each other, but they did exist that way. But you can see there's a lever here. You pull up on the lever, you move it aside and put it into the other notch, and then you lock it in place. So basically that's how it would go. And there were so many different patents for how to flip a switch. So it's really hard to say. Like, actually, this right here kind of very similar because it's like it's got a bell to it, and you can see that there's a different thing to affix it down. Like that's a different part, I believe. So that, yeah, because if you look, there are bolts on either side of what looks to be a dome-like thing, except for the top bit doesn't really match. I don't know. Hard to say. It's really hard to say. So many different switch types.
Yeah,
a very interesting piece.
Indeed. An odd thing to find, and for all we know, it could not even be a switch stand at all. It could be something completely different. It could have had us all misled. It could be that my friend who works with Steam engines is correct, and I wouldn't even doubt it because, like, you know, he works with Steam engine stuff all the time, and if it's like a regularly used piece, then you know. But anyhow, yeah.
So is a scrap scavenger gonna take it to a scrapyard for whatever its weight in metal it is? Or
no.
Is it just gonna sit there forever?
So right now it's being kept in the station, and I think the going plan is just to keep it around to like show passengers and stuff who'd find interest in that. Otherwise, I did say to the guy who works there, I was like, hey, if you guys want it like gone from the station, I'll take it. So there's entirely a possibility it might end up in my possession and in like my garage or something, where
that's gonna be a hell of a story.
If it does, and if I find out what it is, you can bet I'm bringing it to train shows to share the history, because I like sharing history. So all the old railroad artifacts that I do have, which are not many, but the reason I have them is because it's a thing that I can show people and kind of keep the history alive. So that's my main goal, is like, I'm not somebody who wants to like buy and sell stuff. No, I just want to, like, you know, show stuff, cool history things. But
I can appreciate that.
Yeah. So that was like the most interesting thing of my weekend, because as I have said already, I spent most of it being sick. So what are you gonna do?
Apparently, I'm gonna draw.
Hell yeah! Keep
Actually,
on
right now I'm
drawing.
I'm doing fervent coloring ins right now to get ready to try to make the joke.
Hell,
might not do a background.
Hell yeah!
Meanwhile, I have already finished my art, and you can see the bad idea.
So, ponies, horses, ponies.
Mushroom.
Horses.
Nay. We got roughly 9 minutes.
This is true. Well, you know, I should rewatch some Pony this week. That's a thing I should do. Don't know which episode, don't know which season, but I should rewatch some Pony.
I would recommend. Stuff got caught up in my throat. I would recommend going on the latest seasons, because we really didn't rewatch a lot of those.
Yeah, I need to rewatch season 9 specifically, because, like, admittedly, I kind of didn't rewatch as many episodes after season 9 aired, and it was a really good season.
You know what? No. You need to go beyond. You need to watch Pony Life.
True, actually, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then rewatch all the little shorts that they came out with to, you know, with the like where Twilight Sparkle had the ladybug thing going on all throughout the school, and
oh hell
they
yeah,
ended up hypnotizing her, so she's kind of losing her mind with the kite.
Yes. I still
things
find
like
it
that.
fun that she's afraid of quesadillas, because they're so cheesy.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things that aren't part of the main show, but are still considered canon.
True.
Yeah, they're honestly a lot of fun, but yeah, they don't get as much attention as other things.
I mean, in fairness, it does get a little bit hard to keep track of it all because there's just so many little things.
Oh no, it is a wild time.
I would argue it is not as bad as trying to keep up a season or with Generation 5 because Generation 5 is split across so many different forms of media.
Oh yeah.
Like from the get-go.
I mean, Generation 5 has a freaking has like 6-episode podcast, for God's sakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The podcast is
a good
great.
podcast.
Oh, it was a good podcast. It's just that it's still kind of random.
It is. I do like the in-universe podcast. It's a very fun concept. It added some flavor to the show, and honestly, it made me like Posey even more. I like Posey. Posey's my favorite character in Generation 5 in the later seasons. I don't like Posey when she first appears, because she's kind of rude, but like, tell you what, a little bit later on, she becomes like my favorite character to see. Like... Is it just because I like to watch bad stuff happen to a bad person? Maybe a little bit, but also she has a bit of a recovery arc, and that's nice.
She does.
I like to see Posey improve and bloom into a better pony. She is great. Also, you know what? I need to like watch more of G5 because like I know there is a very episode that shipping minded people like myself like a lot with Posey and Pip, and I actually haven't seen that yet. Full disclosure, I haven't, but I would really like to. Just need to get back on and keep on watching. Yeah. Also, at some point, I need to watch more Generation 1, because Generation 1 is fascinating.
Yeah, I do need to rewatch the early stuff and try to even get through the horror.
Oh, speaking of watching
3.5, what have you done to us?
Speaking of watching horror,
glorious pain.
have I told y'all about Clutch Cargo?
I believe I've heard of it.
Not off the top of my head.
Clutch Cargo was a series that you could maybe argue was kind of almost animated. It was almost like a moving storybook kind of show from like 1958, I want to say. And it was made to be cheap. Each episode was like about 5 minutes long, and then the 5 episodes could be combined at the end of the week on Saturday, where you could watch the entire arc in one go in a half-hour segment. And it involved this guy who was like a specialty pilot slash author, I guess. You're like sort of like, imagine you're Indiana Jones type, but this is before Indiana Jones, right?
The pulp hero that would be able to save and knows everything.
Yeah. Who travels with like a boy, which I guess is like his son, but not actually, like kind of like adopted or something.
Son. Let's go with that.
Yeah, and their dog named Paddlefoot, which weird name for a dog. Maybe a good name for a duck, but for a dog, I don't get it. But anyways, and in this show, they recorded the dialogue while also recording the mouths of the people as they
Oh God, I remember. Yes, I remember what you're talking about now. Oh
yes.
No, I was about to say, if you see the extras for the Incredibles DVD where they have a not fake, but a
no. I'm thinking more. I'm thinking more Farmer Brown from the day the Earth blew up recently.
Oh my gosh, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, but so you know what I meant. That style animation, and was very popular back in the day because it was cheaper and easier.
It was not popular. I would argue it was not popular. But anyways, this show kind of like pioneer, like it utilized this this film technique, which basically was originally pioneered by like one of the photographers who worked on the production, who used it originally for some popular advertisements at the time, which featured pictures of animals with their mouths moving, so it looked like the animals were talking. So they used it for this show, and it's like, one thing I will say is it's not really that good, but it keeps me watching it. Every now and then I'll see in my recommendations, it'll be like, do you want to watch this episode of Clutch Cargo? I'm like, fuck yeah, man, let's go. But also, I don't have good taste, I will admit. And like, I don't know, just like it keeps me coming back for some weird reason. I don't know why. Is it good? Do I recommend it? I recommend watching it with some friends, at least one episode, because it's funny to watch, but like, it's not good. It's like maybe not a watch on your own kind of thing. It's a watch with some friends and make fun of it.
Yep, and Cole.
And I will say,
the closest thing to that photographer is saying of just put a mouth on an animal is, of course, those sub ads.
I wish you hadn't reminded me those exist. A reminder, the early 2000s were not a good time. Anyways,
actually, you know what? For some reason, I was thinking about that animation thing. It's just thinking, and decades later, some Japanese director was stuck trying to figure out how to animate a scene of a tractor going through the field, and suddenly Clutch Cargo was on the TV, and he knew what he must do. Yeah. I still love the fact that was a thing not that long, like maybe 2 years ago, that we had an anime bold enough to basically decide, okay, we're doing a scene where a guy's using a tractor in a field, and he's all happy about it. So we're just gonna use real life footage of a tractor going through a hay field, and we're just gonna put this anime head on the top over the guy's head that was driving the tractor.
That is beautiful. 10 out of 10.
Wait. The show, was it the exact model of tractor, or was it an older tractor? They had to find footage of an older tractor.
Now, I'm pretty sure they went out and shot this footage themselves.
Okay. It's like, dang.
By the way, as far as Clutch Cargo goes, I will say, keep in mind that Clutch Cargo was made in the 50s, and it shows. So, keep that in mind. It was a product of its era, unfortunately. And with that, we will continue on to the Brony Show. Circuit, what's going on? Circuit has died. Not actually. We're not going down that rabbit hole again. Circuit.
You know, I agree with you, but I still have these tombstones ready.
He's become a cake.
Cool.
You thought that was second? No. It was cake.
It was cake. The entire time.
Cool.
Who knew I was coming back with a piece of cake?
Wait, were you really?
Yeah.
See,
I finally finished my drawing, so I quickly went and grabbed this orange cream crunch cake that I had in the fridge.
God damn, that sounds amazing. I cannot express enough. I have a craving for cake. I've not had my fix of sweets this weekend, because I am the sort of person who walks into town and gets snacks, particularly sweets, but I haven't been able to this week. Cries.
Mm.
I should like make cookies or something. And I won't because I want to rest and like feel better, but you know.
Yeah, I get that. I get that feeling.
Circuit, what's going on in the main show tonight? What do these beautiful people have to look forward to?
Well, since you mentioned resting, I'd say we all crack a beer, or in this case, also a glass of sparkling mimosa that I got from the liquor store when I was heading home.
Nice.
Very orangey. And chill out and relax because fell behind on videos for so long. It's time to do another video catch up. So we got all of the longer videos, a good chunk of 20 minutes, some of them like in 18, 17 minutes. And we also mixed in some 10-minute, 8-minute videos in between them. And we're going to have ourselves a nice little video watching party.
Mm-hmm.
So a great way to chill, enjoy some drinkage, and see some of the great stuff that's come out from the Brony community that's really long. But we don't have enough time. We keep running out of time to do because I don't like to say I'm padding the show, but we keep adding on to it every single time, and it surprises me every single time.
Well, you know what they say, Circuit. I mean, this is a show where people talk. We are talkers.
We'd like to gap.
I mean, hell, we talked about railroad ties here for like 30 minutes, so.
Not railroad ties, but I could go on about railroad ties. If you want, I can go into the details.
Dear Lord, no!
Please, no. I'm sure as much as people are enthralled, they're also eager for their pony content for the week.
I should one day throw together a deep dive presentation of my observations of railroads in Equestria and how it relates to railroads in real life, because as unrealistic as the railroads in Equestria seem, because they all seem kind of ridiculous and like they don't make sense, it actually makes a lot more sense when you realize that railroads in real life back in the 1800s didn't make a lot of sense. Capitalism is one hell of a drug.
Well, there's a problem, show.
Capitalism is one hell of a drug, is what I will say, and our railroads were built by it.
I think you're selling yourself short. You shouldn't have to do just Generation 4 railroads. Do all of the railroads. All the generations. Because I know there are railroads in other series.
This is true. They briefly appear in Generation 1. Particularly in Generation... Well, okay. They briefly appear in My Little Pony Tales. But they also briefly appear in My Little Pony... and Friends? Is that what it is?
My Little Pony Tales. There's G3, G1.
They appear in G1, like the G1 series proper, the first one, the 1980s one, because there's a Big Brother pony. I will say, when it comes to a topic like this, I really should narrow it down, and narrowing it down to a series that's 9 seasons long is a pretty big one anyways. So we'll see. Maybe down the road, if y'all want. Maybe don't sign up for that, but like if you want me to, I'll do it. Just let me know. Show your interest, and I will do some homework. Have a good one, y'all. Next up is the Brony Show.